everybody, welcome along to Sportsbet TV. Paul Alster here once again with you, looking forward to a fine weekend's racing, particularly Saturday the 27th of June, where we have three selections for you. Now, two of them are at Newcastle, where we're on the all-weather track, of course, and it's Northumberland Plate Day, while over in Ireland it's the Irish Derby. Of course, there are no punters, no crowd, no race goers at either track. No bookmakers, but some very good horses are going to be racing, and we've had a really good look through here, and having gone very close with some winners and a few real crossbar rattlers over the last week, we're very hopeful we're going to once again show a profit with our three selections. We'll go straight to it first of all in chronological order and start off with the 150 race at Newcastle, which is the Group 3 Chipchase Stakes. It's a sprint over 6 furlongs. Now, there's lots of old favourites in this race, including the likes of Brando and Judicial, Major Jumbo and Chief of Chiefs, who won just last week at Royal Ascot. But there's a horse here we're pretty keen on, and his name is Mubaka. He's trained by Sir Michael Stout, who's having a very good season, a high percentage strike rate. And Dane O'Neill, a terrific jockey, will be on board this one in the colours of Hamdan Al Maktoum. This horse is pretty unexposed. He's only run 5 times in his life, and his 3 wins have all come on this surface. Indeed, he's 3 from 3. He's never lost on an artificial surface, including over course and distance last time, which was his seasonal return, and he showed a really nice turn of foot to just quicken up for hands and heels riding. No whip really. Dane O'Neill was keen not to knock him about, but he was still too good for the opposition at Newcastle over 6 furlongs in a good handicap. And Sir Michael Stout, who's trained some of the greatest horses over the last 30-40 years, knows a horse that's capable of holding his own at this level. And he steps Mubaka straight up to this Group 3 on a track and a distance where he's won before. Now, he is favourite, but 11-4 is still available at the time of this recording with 3 firms. And they are Bet365, Ladbrokes and Coral. So 11-4, Mubaka in the 150 race at Newcastle on Saturday is our first selection, and that's for the win. Now, our second selection is a bigger prize, and this is in the Northumberland Plate, the race that's known as the Pitman's Derby, because traditionally it's the day where in the northeast at Newcastle all the miners used to come with all their families and all the pub outings. A real charabang, a wonderful day for the working man, but of course there'll be very few working men there on Saturday because the public are not allowed to attend. Nonetheless, this race that has been run on the all-weather track at Newcastle for the last few seasons remains a high-class 2-mile handicap. Now, last year it was won by Alan King with Who Dares Wins, a horse that won at Royal Ascot last week, and Alan King had 3 winners there. Now, he has a runner here who we think has been really laid out for this race, and his name is Rainbow Dreamer. He's a horse who will be ridden by one of the top lady riders, Holly Doyle. She really is terrific. Indeed, she's in 3rd place in the Jockeys' Championship at the moment against all the guys. So this is a lady who can really hold her own against the very best. And we think that this horse is going to run a mighty race despite being drawn in stall 15 of the 20. Now, you might think over 2 miles, what does the draw matter? They've got time to sort themselves out. But at Newcastle, when they race to the first bend, if you're drawn wide, you can sometimes be parked out wide for a long way, and you're having to do more running than some of those on the inner. It's a bit like at athletics, where those drawn in lane 8, if you didn't take into account the stagger, would be at a significant disadvantage. And of course, there is no stagger in horse racing, but it's not uncommon for horses to be able to get across and drop in, and we think Holly will do this on Rainbow Dreamer, who is a horse who won 4 races in a row before finishing 4th over this course and distance. This was a little bit of a sighter, and it was in a group race in the Sagaro Stakes just recently, and I watched Rainbow Dreamer. He travelled really well. He came there to win his race just over a furlong out, but he blew up. In other words, he wasn't fully fit, he was just possibly short of one gallop for peak fitness. He kept on behind Naef Road, who of course went on to run very well in last week's Ascot Gold Cup, and he wasn't knocked about by his jockey that day. They've had their eyes on this, they know what it takes to win a Northumberland plate, and with the yard in absolutely superb form, we think that the 10 to 1 on offer each way for 4 places for Rainbow Dreamer, and the firms that are offering the 10 to 1 each way are Genting Bet and once again Bet365. So we think this is good value at 10 to 1 each way for 4 places. Rainbow Dreamer in the 3:35 race at Newcastle on Saturday, the Northumberland Plate. It is always a hugely competitive race. There are lots of big stables represented, but Alan King is proving a hard man to stop at the moment, and we think Rainbow Dreamer is going to run a cracking race. Now, over the last few years, I've been lucky enough to attend the Irish Derby a few times. It's a wonderful occasion over at the Curragh. It's one of their showpiece days, together with the Irish Champion Stakes, I'd say. But of course, nobody's going to be there, but there'll be lots of good horses running. It's in the evening on Saturday at 7:15 at the Curragh. Now, unlike all the big British races, the Irish have not reduced the prize money. So there's €750,000, €750,000 up for grabs. And this great race has been dominated completely by Aidan O'Brien. He's won it 13 times over the last 20-something years. And of the 15 runners declared this year in one of the biggest fields for a very long time, Aidan trains no less than 6. His son Joseph trains 3, and Joseph's younger brother Donica trains 1. So in other words, the O'Brien family, the O'Brien clan, have 10 of the 15 runners in the Irish Derby, which is extraordinary. Many of them have not run this season, or if they have, they've just run the once. And one of them is Santiago, who won for Aidan O'Brien at Royal Ascot, winning over 1.75 miles in the Queen's Vase. That's a race that is normally a trial for the big staying races, and also, of course, for the St Leger. I just wonder if Santiago will be quick enough over the 1.5 miles. They'll probably make plenty of use of him. Arthur's Kingdom could be a bigger danger from the Aidan O'Brien team. And there's also Joseph O'Brien's Crossfire Hurricane, who's unbeaten in 4, but he's stepping up in class and distance, and it has to be a question mark about his stamina. Now, it's unusual to recommend a maiden, a horse that's never won, to win a derby. But I'm very interested here in a horse trained by Jim Bolger and ridden by his son-in-law, Kevin Manning. And this horse is called Fiscal Rules, and he's a horse who has run just or twice so far. Now, Jim Bolger is a great trainer in Ireland and around the world. He won this race in 1992 with the superb Saint-Jovite, and he won it again back in 2013 with Trading Leather. So he knows what's needed to win an Irish derby. Now, Fiscal Rules only ran once as a 2-year-old, and he just got beaten in a photo finish by Wichita. And Wichita, of course, went on to be just beaten in the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket early this month, and he again ran very well when third in the St James's Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot last week, so that form is red hot. And Fiscal Rules has just had one run this season, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but in my view, his run in the Irish 2,000 guineas, a classic race, was used as a test to see if the horse was quick enough for a mile, and alternatively if he might stay the 1.5 miles of Saturday's Irish Derby. He finished 5th there behind the superb Siskin, and he was staying on without being punished in the closing stages. I think Kevin Manning knew his horse wasn't quick enough to win at that level over a mile, but he got him into the race, gave him a chance to be competitive, and then he came home nicely. This horse will stay further. His half-sister won a group race over 1.75 miles, so the 1.5 miles, in my view, will be well within his compass. Now, he's an 8 to 1 shot. Indeed, he's 4th favourite, so it means it's not just me that thinks this horse could improve a lot over the 1.5 miles. The bookies aren't taking a huge chance on this maiden who's run just the twice, never won, winning the Irish Derby. He is 8 to 1. I recommend him each way, and he's 8 to 1 with 888, Sky Bet and Bet365. You can bet him each way, which I think is the right call, and it would not surprise me if he's finishing as strong, if not stronger than anything, at the end of the uphill 1.5 miles. And believe me, The Curragh, you might not see it on the television, but it is stiff uphill all the way from the 5 furlong marker, and you really do have to stay to win there. So, Fiscal Rules is my Irish Derby selection, each way 8-1 at 7:15 at the Curragh on Saturday. He's the third and final recommendation. It's going to be a great day's racing. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the weather wherever you are, get your bets on, then get out in the sun, come back and watch these 3 terrific races at Newcastle and the Curragh, and we look forward once again to your company next week here at Sportsbet TV. Bye bye for now.